The various forms of thee and thou and thy are basically archaic ways of saying you, or your, or yours. Archaic means old and not used very much anymore. Basically, thee and thou means you. So anytime you see thee or thou, you can just replace it with you, and you'll understand what it's saying. Thy means your, and thine means yours. Okay, to understand this, we'll have to have a little bit of a grammar lesson, but don't freak out, it's really not that complicated. Now, when we're talking about English grammar, if I say first person, that's I, second person is you, third person is he or she. And then you also have plurals. You have us, you have you or you all, and you have they. Okay, for right now, we're just going to concentrate on the singular pronouns. Now, you might have noticed that there are actually two first-person pronouns, I and me. But there's only one second-person pronoun, you, and that's it. There are also two third-person pronouns, he and him, or she and her. So first of all, what's the difference between I and me? I is the subject, me is the object. I see him, I am the subject of that sentence. I don't say, me see him. That would sound weird. See, so you do this all the time without even thinking. You make a distinction between subject and object. I is the subject, me is the object. Same thing for him. He is the subject, him is the object. He sees me, I see him. Now, if I'm talking to my friend here, and I want to say, I see you, notice I am the subject, you is the object. But what happens if he sees me? So you see me. You is the subject, and me is the object. So you is both the subject and the object. We use the same word for both of them, but we didn't used to. We did have two different words for you. We had thou and thee. Okay, here's a chart to help you make sense of it. In the black we have what we say now, and in the green we have the old version. So that's what you're going to see in the hymns. So you can see here that the second person, that's you, second person subject pronoun is you, but it used to be thou. Notice how it's almost spelled the same? So that might help you remember when you're looking at the hymns, thou means you. I and thou are subject pronouns. Me and thee are object pronouns. Now that's really convenient. Thee and me rhyme. So that's a great way to be able to remember which one is the object. Here's an example sentence. The panda gave cake to me and you. In this older version of English, we would say, the panda gave cake to me and thee. It rhymes. So that really helps. Okay, now what about thy and thine? Thy means your. Thine means yours. I just spilled my coffee on myself. If you're having trouble remembering how thy and thine relates to your and yours, compare it to my and mine. Again, it rhymes. It's really great. Is this my cup, or is this thy cup? This cup is mine. This cup is thine. You might have to practice it a little bit, and playing around and pretending to speak in like Shakespearean English around the house is a really great way to work on that. Also, if you're a visual learner, look at the chart. It was really helpful for me to put it into a chart and look at it, so I hope it's also helpful for you. Okay, so we have one more problem. Sometimes you'll find that the hymns use thine, where you think it should be thy. And you're right, and the reason why it does that is because of the sound of the letters. Okay, here's an example. Think about the difference between a bike and an apple. So we added an N on A when we wanted to say an apple. Why did we do that? It's because the next word starts with a vowel sound, an apple. It's the exact same thing with my and thy. If the next word starts with a vowel sound, it has to be mine or thine. Think of a familiar song, Mine Eyes, like Mine Eyes Have Seen the Glory. That's because they didn't like having that vowel sound of my running into the vowel sound of the next word. my eyes. It used to be that we would say mine eyes, just like we say an apple. You just put an N sound in there. But again, at least it's the same between mine and thine. So if you can get one of them right, then you can get the other one right. Okay, so let's try a little bit of translation. Let's look at the Spiritual Songs 382. So right there in the first line of the hymn, you have love bound thee to the altar. What does that say? Love bound you to the altar. And why is it thee and not thou? Well, if you imagine putting first person in there, which love didn't bound us to the altar, but just for grammar reasons, if love bound me to the altar, I wouldn't say love bound I to the altar. So love bound me to the altar. It didn't. My love isn't that awesome. So love bound thee to the altar. The Father's love and thine. So the Father's love and yours. And again, if you put first person in there, the Father's love and mine. Rhymes with thine. We've got it. Okay, let's skip down a little bit. O peerless victim, that we with thee might shine. Thy wealth thou didst surrender. That's a good one. Thy wealth, your wealth, thou didst surrender. You did surrender. Okay, we didn't talk about thyself, but it's just like myself. Thy life in grace unbounded. Thy life, your life. That we with thee might live. That we with you might live. So go ahead and read through a song like this, one that you really like, and you can either rewrite it or maybe write in on the page with pencil, just in case you decide to erase it later. Write in the proper type of you or your or yours, yourself, in the place of all of the these and thys, and then read over it again as a way to practice. Hit the like button, subscribe, leave me a comment to let me know if you want me to keep making these videos. There are lots more things in these hymns that are confusing than just the these and thous. Maybe next time we'll tackle hath. So if I'm talking to my panda friend here, and I say, I see you, I am the subject, and you is the object. Did I say that backwards?